Hi, friends. Thanks again for joining us. Do us a huge favor, smash that subscribe button, drop one of those thumbs up likes, and please leave a comment. We appreciate all your kind words and we appreciate you tuning in. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Reddit and Discord. And don't forget to leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Let's get right into it. Bombers 1-0 on the season, defending the house in front of a sixth consecutive sellout crowd at Princess Auto Stadium, the PA. Initial thoughts on Jason Hogan's first game as OC. Do you think the script will change much with Collaros coming in and Oliveira possibly, most likely out with an upper body injury and Matthew Peterson stepping in? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was very impressive game plan and game execution coming out of Hogan. I was surprised. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people were surprised. We all expected maybe a more run-focused game, and yes, they did focus on that run, and I think they ran almost 30 times or just I think over 30 with
33.
with Terry Wilson's sneaks. So that was impressive to me, but also they threw in a lot of passes, still 25 passes. They ran a lot of plays on offense in this game, and he was mixing it up left and right. He trusted Streveler to throw, and in situations where we probably thought on the goal line, I'm thinking, run the ball. What are you doing here, right? Don't give anything up. And then he, makes an impressive throw to Wheatfall, which probably could have been a touchdown if Streveler would have let him out a bit more. But then he completed that whole drive anyways. And a very impressive 100-yard plus drive and great play calling. Even the touchdown to Wheatfall was great. Wide open, and then Strevy just lofted over. So yeah, it was very impressive game plan for Hogan, and I'm excited to see what else he can do.
Yeah, I don't think much could have gone better in a debut for Hogan, just like the debut for Matthew Peterson. Yeah. 33 runs, 25 passes, and it's just what the team needed. Balance, 201 yards rushing, 246 yards passing. It didn't look like they asked Streveler to do anything out of his wheelhouse. And, that meant they didn't seem to face a lot of second and longs until later on in the game, which was good. So they started off getting some momentum. It kind of reminded me maybe a couple days ago when I saw a clip of Bill Belichick finally singing the praises of Tom Brady, being like, what did he do well? And the first thing that I think, or one of the first things that he mentioned was Tom Brady does not make a lot of mistakes that put the Patriots in second and long. Not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of unnecessary penalties. So the Bombers did that, and that's props to everyone on the team. Chris Streveler, Jason Hogan, and you know what? I'll blow my load early here for shout outs in week 2. Yeah, for sure. It's the O-line. The O-line was crazy the way they executed. Like the holes they had for Peterson during the game, but even Oliveira around the 13-20 mark of the first quarter, he got like a huge run with a huge hole where he was untouched until he was tackled 40 yards, whatever, down the field. They kept Betts off the sack tally, props to Randolph. So yeah, our next thing was about shout outs, but that kind of blended into what was great with Hogan and his calling of the game and the execution is that O-line. So man, I'm excited to see what Jason Hogan has in store because he was unpredictable, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Unpredictable in this game, which is a curveball.
Yeah. Well, I just piggyback off the O-line, even on the touchdown by Peterson, guys were getting to that second level, and they're blocking guys downfield, opening holes, and obviously Peterson made some great moves to get free as well. But it was just great to see that O-line doing it. Randolph played great at right tackle, but I mean, and I see this week that maybe Gabe Wallace might be drawing in that left guard, so I'm not sure what's happening there. But
yeah,
great start for that O-line. And just kind of the trust that they brought into Wheatfall in this offense as well. They made him the guy in this game, and Dembski did have 2 touchdowns. Dalton Schoen caught some passes, but it was Wheatfall that was kind of leading the way. And that impressive catch from the goal line, and the way he took Peters out of that play, like his move to get away from Peters and to have 5 yards of separation was fantastic. And then the touchdown, another great route run by Wheatfall. So Yeah, the balance of it was all over. It kept BC on their toes. They took advantage of Matthew Betts, even on that long run
Yeah.
by Brady Oliveira. They knew what Betts was going to end up doing. He was going to cheat inside, which opened up that side for Oliveira. So it was good to see them attacking BC's weaknesses, and going at him. And again, BC could not stop the run. It's crazy.
And the thing is, Gary Peters is not a weakness. He's a
No.
great defensive back, and Carrick Wheatfall made him look a little regular.
Yeah. Yeah, he got the interception. Peters probably not the greatest throw there from Streveler,
Low
but
and a little
yeah,
behind.
yeah. But other than that, Peters, yeah, he was non-existent in that game.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see that from Carrick Wheatfall every week, but what that does do, it makes the DBs around the league and defensive coordinators have to make sure they're covering that side. And it opens stuff up for, like we saw, Dembski, Schoen gets a few short ones, gets those first downs, get those drives continuing. So yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? The teams now cannot just focus on Dembski and Schoen. They have to now be careful where Wheatfall is out there as well.
Yeah.
Which we were kind of worried about, because now you're going from two veteran guys to two newer guys, right? After the receivers we've had for the last few years, losing Kenny Lawler, Wolotarski kind of thing. So, but great start for him, and Hogan trusted him.
Six different rushers,
sorry,
six different receivers.
Yeah, that's fantastic, right?
Absolutely.
So,
who do you focus on?
And this wasn't Streveler having to run all game, right? And maybe that knee's not fully back yet and the running's not there, but he didn't run. He only ran twice.
Yep.
And one was pretty much a dead play. That was the one where they went 2-0 and ran both times and got nothing really out of it. So they weren't asking him to do anything or keep the ball in his hand and run for 160 yards himself, So
yeah. And he made those nice passes when he had time. Yeah. When Wheatfall had that out, he hit him with the out, and Wheatfall was able to have enough to get into the end zone. The way he led Dembski, no DB had a chance at that one. No DB had a chance at that one.
From our angle up in the upper deck of the game, I'm like, oh my God, is this going to be intercepted? And then you just watch it drop over those two DBs and into Dembski's hands, and you're like, wow. It was almost like the touchdown from the Grey Cup where he threw to Andrew Harris, right? Yeah. That one in there that just kind of got over everybody, and you're thinking, holy, this could be picked off at any moment here, right? So
yeah, and then Dembski in the corner route.
Yeah,
another beautiful, crazy. So we talked about O-line, we talked about Carrick Wheatfall. Those were my shout outs from week 2. Do you have anyone else you want to shout out from week 2?
Well, hold on, let's go back a second, or unless you want to talk about this now, but you still asked.
Oh yeah,
change.
Go ahead. You can go. You go ahead. You go ahead.
I don't think it will, because we saw Streveler throw 24 times, right? It's not like he ran a lot. So I think this offense is going to be the type of offense that we're going to see no matter who's in at quarterback.
Yeah.
And if Collaros, I mean, if Streveler can run this offense this way, at that efficiency with that great running game, obviously it took it's not just Streveler, but the O-line, everything we talked about. I expect Collaros to just jump right in there and do the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're not, okay, Collaros is back in, let's throw 35 times and only run 15 times. Like you say, they got to keep that balance, and that balance kept BC on the back of their heels. They got to take advantage of the weakness of whatever defense they're going to end up playing. So I feel like this is probably the offense we're going to see, and hopefully as it goes along, we're going to see more and more wrinkles in it.
Yeah. I think maybe out of paranoia and the fact that they're facing the same team back to back, and they have a totally different quarterback in there, I think the script has to not change, but vary a little from what they did.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I think, I'd really love to see a lot of play action early, maybe open it up with the pass to set up the run, because this was very much a run to set up the pass. But I think if they flip it with the pass to set up the run, the DBs and linebackers will have to back up a bit if they see the play action. Then they'll hit the Matthew Peters, and he'll have a little more room to play, and the O-line will be able to, that is great to see that bully ball back. That's for sure. But I think it does have to vary a little bit. I don't think it can be the same script, just specifically because it's Zach Collaros.
That play action, like you're saying, that's a fantastic point, actually, right? Because now you're going to have BC wondering, is it going to be a pass or a run here at this point? And they're going to be scared of getting torched again on the ground. For the most part, for the most part, you can give up 250 yards in the air, right? A lot of CFL teams are going to, but for the most part, they don't give up 200 on the ground, right?
No.
So that's something to be more worrisome than the ball in the air. So to me, it's like you had coaches on the other side for BC that have been in Winnipeg for a long time. And then no Hogan, right? Jason Hogan learned from Buck Pierce. He got hired by Buck Pierce. So your BC's probably thinking, hey, we know really what this guy's going to do, or we know what this offense can do. We know Streveler's limitations and all that stuff. And he caught them off guard. Like I said, that pass from the 2 yard line or 3 or whatever it was, I did not expect that. I don't think anybody expected that. I'll say that again and over again. But you had guys who knew him on the other side of the field, and they still got away with it and had a great game plan to keep them, backed up there and not being able to really be in this game. So it was fantastic to see.
Yeah, last week I thought it was Buck Pierce who had the advantage over the Bombers, but maybe
I guess it ended up being a disadvantage because he expected probably something, and the Bombers are like, nope, we're going this way.
Well, just like Buck Pierce saw that Richie Hall and Jordan Younger defense, Jordan Younger and Richie Hall saw that Buck Pierce offense every day.
Yeah. And besides the two long balls really from BC, that offense really had no answer. For BC, like they could not get anything done really against that Bomber D. Yeah. Rourke was running all over the place and all that. So yeah, fantastic game plan. But we're praising the offense. Fantastic game plan by Jordan Younger too.
If you're not a Bomber fan, was that Hatcher catch offensive pass interference?
You know what? I haven't seen a replay, but from where I was sitting in the replay on the big screen, it did look like pass interference. It looked like his arms came out. I know Parker said he tripped over his feet and all that. So, obviously, I think it's 50-50, but I would lean towards more pass interference. I was actually saying, hey, challenge this, but again, my view from up there is probably not the greatest compared to what Michael Shea would have saw or Parker would have told him kind of thing, right?
If the game was tied at that point, I think they might have called it.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, because the thing is that's that right after that drive, right? That Bomber drive.
Yes.
100-yard drive. So
yes.
Yeah, the game, if BC doesn't get a score there and Bomber score again, the game's over.
As a response.
This one keeps it close, and all that, but.
Sorry, go ahead.
We'll go back to shoutouts or what?
Yes, sorry. I forgot. I thought I did my shoutouts. I'm like, let's move on. What are your shoutouts, Brother Benny?
Yeah, I mean, I could shout out a lot of these guys for the games that they've played, a lot of individual great games and all that stuff. I'm gonna shout out Marquise Bridges. 2 interceptions in this game, a big one. And it was a bit of, obviously it was an overthrown pass by Rourke, but it was a big play by Bridges to get that interception, even a late one to kind of close out the game, right?
Yes.
Put it away, but it's good to see because it's funny because you had Demario Houston 7 or 8 interceptions the year before, Terrell Ford 7 interceptions last year. Now we got a guy already at 2 in one game, so maybe it's a good omen to see what he's going to do the rest of the year and maybe lead the team again in interceptions. But good for him, good start for him.
Again, my shoutouts were O-line and Wheatfall. Do you think Bridges will hit double-digit interceptions this year?
Oh, no double digits, but he'll get up there. Over 5 for sure. I guess he's already at 2. So.
I'll say he will get double digits. He will get double digits. He'll join the likes of Rod Hill and Les Brown. Did Les Brown
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Did Les Brown get double-digit interceptions with Winnipeg? Oh, yeah, for sure he did.
For the amount that he got, he would have to, no?
For sure he did. I think him and Rod Hill got double digits together in the same season.
Didn't Rod Hill get 4 or 5 in one game?
Wasn't it Ottawa in this stadium right here?
I feel like it was Hamilton, but that's, your memory is usually better than me on this stuff. So, but it was in that stadium for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I know that for sure.
Rod Hill, crazy. Will we see Chris Streveler more on the field after last week's performance? We'll talk about Chris Streveler for a bit here. Scale of 1 to 10, what score would you give Chris Streveler? And do you have confidence in him possibly being the replacement? The one. I'd like to think they put him in I don't know. I want to buy in, and I think he's also matured. Like he said, he's seeing the field better. So yes, I think they'll see more of him on the field. Not necessarily. I think it'll be very situational.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's gonna do the short yardage stuff, right? He's gonna take that back over for Terry Wilson, which Terry Wilson did a fantastic job of it last game.
Yeah.
But I think now they can do more with Streveler, like the stuff we expected them to do last year, right?
Yes.
Those 2nd and 4s when you come in, you're like, okay, this has got to be. Some of these are going to be a pass, some of these are going to be a run. Every one of them, I think, was a run. And teams are like,
Absolutely. It's
okay,
horrible.
Try this again, Buck, kind of thing, right? So I think they'll give him more chances on those to throw the ball, and then maybe keep him in after a short yardage, kind of, getting the first down off a short yardage, keep him in for one more play, and kind of keep the defense off balance a bit. But quarterbacks like to get in rhythm, right? And Zach Collaros is not going to want to sit on the sideline for too long, and I don't think the Bombers want to keep him there as well. So I think they'll sprinkle in a few things for him, off of sneaks and stuff like that, but I don't expect him to come in and play a drive or anything like that.
No, I would love to see him on second and short, second and
Yes.
mid, like you say, with that RPO, gives him the opportunity to hand it off, take it himself, or pass it to someone in the flats or deep. Who knows? Because that deep ball was hitting for him.
Exactly. 2nd and 1, fake it, go deep.
And he's good on the run throwing the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So who knows? What's the score you would give him?
I gave him an 8. Fantastic game for him. But again, for me, it's one game, right? And he did see the game a lot better than I've seen him, play the game. Like even on the Grey Cup run when he was here, it was always iffy with him, and you didn't know what you were going to get. And, was he going to have a good drive? And again, he had bad passes, but he had a lot of good drives, and he kept drives going, and he found his receivers. And it wasn't a lot of dump off passes. There wasn't any dump off passes really.
No.
He had to read that D and figure things out. So, and again, I can't get past that 100-yard drive because that was fantastic. So I'm not there yet. I'm not sold that he is the guy to take over for Zach Collaros after. I need to see a little bit more, but I'm definitely more, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm more encouraged about his capabilities to do it.
That's a good word.
Yes. So, I like that because we were worried who's going to take over Zach Collaros. Did they sign Zach Collaros for another year? Because I think the Bombers were worried too, right? So
of course,
I like it. I like what I saw from Streveler, and hopefully he can build off that.
I give him a solid 8.1. Like you mentioned earlier, the interception that he threw was a bit off. It was like, some of us were saying old school Streveler, but at the same time, he rebounded from it, moved forward. So I like that. And I do have more confidence in him possibly being the replacement. But I think it's a process, and it's a huge step forward in the process.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he almost threw at least one other interception BC dropped. Was there 2 or was it just the one kind of thing? But like you say, that's a good point. The bounce back, right? Hogan didn't say, hey, you're going to stop throwing because you threw an interception, and Streveler wasn't scared to keep slinging it.
Last week, we were a bit raving about Nathan Rourke and his performance. More me, probably. What Rourke do you expect to see for the rest of the season?
I think we're going to get a mix right now, and probably more good than bad. Yeah. But the Bombers have his number, and the Bombers have figured out how to rattle him. And really, with the 3 or 4-man rushes, you're keeping a lot of guys back there, which means a lot of guys are covered, and a lot of that field is covered, right? And when your D-line is getting pressure, not necessarily sacks, but they're getting pressure and making the guy run for his life, he doesn't have time to see what's out there. And especially when you got a lot of those guys back there covering guys and covering that field, it makes it harder for him. So if teams can kind of see that, what the Bombers are doing against him and kind of start running that same kind of defense and rattle him a little bit, he's going to have a rough season. But I still think he's going to have a bounce back. Maybe not this week because he's probably not playing, but I think he'll have a bounce back season where he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll see more of week 1. And it's kind of to mirror what you said. There's something that Richie Hall and Jordan Younger see about Nathan Rourke's game. And I'll get to the D-line play in a bit, which probably will, feed into that. But I think the Bombers aside, Rourke will have a pretty solid season. The Bombers and Rourke was kind of like Montreal and Kahari. And I don't know if it's necessarily Montreal. Maybe this Ed Filion thing that happened and all that business, maybe that kind of makes a bigger issue than I think it is. But it felt like Hari had a tough time against
Yeah.
those Montreal Alouette defenses. So it's every quarterback has that kryptonite.
Yeah. And then when he finally got past him, it's like, hey, that monkey's off your back kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, he did. Bombers would be really good on a roll. Here comes Montreal. It's a loss. It's like, oh, come on.
Except for Doug Flutie, who stopped that guy?
No, nobody. He throttled the Bombers every time he played them.
He throttled,
But he throttled everybody,
so
exactly.
frustrating. Oh,
He got everybody.
gosh.
So good.
Let's look at the Bomber blueprint, what they need to do next week to win. This week, next week.
This week. 3 days.
This week.
Well, yeah.
I'll go first. I think the O-line needs to keep balling. If they give Collaros the type of pocket that they gave Streveler, Collaros will carve the Lions up, and Peterson will run through them too. So
Yeah.
O-line needs to keep balling.
Yeah, for sure. And with that O-line, you can keep that BCD off balance again kind of thing. So they don't know what's coming. Is it going to be a throw? Is it going to be a run? And be worried about that run. Like you said, and expect, Peterson to run it. But now it's all of a sudden it's a play action play downfield or to off to the side to Dembski or Schoen. But again, that that Bomber O-line, that opened a lot of holes and they opened a lot of opportunities for the Bombers. And again, the games start at those lines, the D line, the O-line. Whichever one's going to win that battle probably has got the best chance of winning that game. So the Bombers can do that again. Yeah, that'll be definitely go in the right direction.
What do you got on that blueprint?
You know what? You can you flip sides. Go to that D line, right? It got pressure. It got Rourke off balance. Rushing 3 or 4 guys didn't matter. They were getting in his face, and making him throw the ball when he didn't want to throw the ball, making him see things out there that he wasn't seeing properly. And then you got to give credit to all the rest of the guys. Tony Jones ended up having 10 tackles in this game, so that's fantastic, right? And all the DBs, he had 2 interceptions, and some big plays back there altogether. And besides those 2 long bombs, that Bomber D didn't really make too many mistakes.
Yeah.
And they played some solid foundational D. And if they can do that again, I know Mazzoli might be the guy in there, but even when Mazzoli came in, I know the guy seemed to me like he was uninterested in being in that game. It's just the body language from that guy. I was like, what? He was probably like, dang, I have to come in here right now. So
I didn't prepare for this.
No. So
yeah. And I think like Rourke, Mazzoli also does have the mobility, perhaps. Haven't seen him play in a while. Yeah. But they would need to contain him. Like the way that they played it seemed, I don't know if that was the plan. I don't know if that was part of the meetings all week, but it seemed like they played some very disciplined defensive line play. They kept the gaps closed, they kept the passing lanes tight, and they kept Nathan Rourke contained where he didn't have the lanes to just run out and go. The pressure was slowly just collapsing around him all game long. So I don't see that changing any which way. And that's, again, shout out to the D-line, because it seems like they're just this monster that just kept coming at him, but not giving him the opportunity to break a big run.
Yeah, well, he did break the one, and that was Willie Jefferson coming inside, at one point on trying to get to him, and Rourke found that seam. And then, can I just say something about that penalty too? The roughing the passer or roughing the whatever. Come on, CFL. Like, can that not be reviewed? Like, you're telling me that's a penalty? He was tapped. Like that he's on the line, and a lot of quarterbacks will cut right back in, right? All he did was got tapped. Anyways, that's my rant on that. But yeah, they kept him in check. They didn't let him use his feet. Plus, on top of that, they kept Butler in check. 10 carries, 27 yards, right? So 2.7 yards per carry. So fantastic play by the D again, and Jordan Younger, great called game as well, kind of thing. So so far, every aspect of this Bomber team looked good. Special teams as well. I mean, we haven't even touched on those guys at all here. I mean, besides the Castile couple misses later in the game, special teams to me, looked good as well. And I'll even give Jamison Sheehan some credit. I think he was at 46-yard average.
Yes.
Some punts were like, well, what the heck? But some punts were good.
They kept the Lions kick return to 16 yards per and punt returns to 7.5 yards per. That's a solid go for stopping the return.
Yeah, it's impressive.
If you can continue to give the Lions longer fields to work with, you're in good shape.
Yeah. And then their return game on the other side, Bombers, Vavell was fantastic.
Man, that dude runs, put this on a shirt. He runs with violence. I would not want to tackle that guy. Have you seen these videos online? These dudes that just get up and pick up the ball and then run into each other?
No.
Like he probably plays that. Like it's crazy. They lie on their backs and then they at the whistle they get up and then they smash into each other.
Yeah.
That's an old school football drill. We were doing that at 9 years old in Pop Warner football in Winnipeg when we were called the Maples Marauders.
Not surprised back then.
9 years old, we were doing that drill.
Shake off that concussion. You get right back in there.
What concussion? I don't remember.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The Maples what? Any which way. Any other points on the Bomber blueprint for the next game?
No, just, you know what? They got to play a solid game. They're on the road. We all know that their record in BC, you know, sometimes isn't the greatest. You know, so they gotta play some solid football and show up and take care of business. Because if you can win this season series against BC already, which again, CFL schedule, thanks for that. That's a huge first step.
Yeah. Let's look at week 3 CFL predictions. Montreal, Edmonton. Who do you got?
I got to take the Owls, man. You know, I think I picked them. My predictions, obviously, for the season are looking pretty terrible so far to start because I think I picked the Owls to not make the playoffs.
Still early.
But yeah, I'm going to pick them. Edmonton's at home. We know that's kind of been a disaster for them lately, but Montreal's look good. D's look good. Davis Alexander looks good. Edmonton D struggled in week 1, and I know they got a lot of new guys, but still expecting Montreal to win this game.
Montreal for sure. Edmonton's in trouble. This is not going to look good. Saskatchewan at Toronto. I'll go Saskatchewan. Something is up in Toronto, and I think it's probably because their defense and their D-line can't get the other team off the field fast enough. It's just not looking good.
Yeah, now Winton McManus is also out.
Oof.
I mean, they have a bunch of other guys also out as well, but their secondary is getting lit up. Saskatchewan right now 2-0 versus the East. I also think I said the East was going to be better than West this year. So
they haven't won one yet, have they?
No. So much for that. Kadeem Carey revenge game in this one, or what?
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I hope so, but we'll see.
I'm picking Saskatchewan as well.
You know, AJ Ouellette's probably going to run wild on that.
How did we lose to Nick Arbuckle in the Grey Cup?
Oh, we didn't. The Bombers did.
He looks, I guess I shouldn't say we. He looks terrible.
Well, I want to attach myself with that performance. Woof. Ottawa at Calgary. Oh, Calgary. Speaking of predictions, I thought they would be horrible. Wow.
Again, though, who have they played? Hamilton?
Yes. Hamilton was supposed to be good.
Who else is it? Why can't I think of the other? Toronto. So again, 2 wins against the East.
Toronto at home.
Yeah, but Toronto, no Chad Kelly either, though. No. So I'm going to pick Calgary again in this one, unless maybe Drew Brown is playing. But so far, he's iffy. Bagleton's out, but Ottawa's D has not looked good. I'm worried for Bobby Dice there because they've really struggled so far this season.
I don't know what's up with that team.
No, I don't know. Well, I mean,
together.
If at least with Drew Brown in there, it gives you a chance, right? In that week 1, he came back in that game with Matthew Schultz in there. It's not good.
But they're running it back a lot, eh? They didn't do much in the offseason, did they?
Eugene Lewis, really? And they got a couple receivers. Dominic Rhymes, right? Or no?
Their receivers were bad last year.
No. They spruced up their offense quite a bit. You know, and their O-line was already decent with some guys, and you know, so I mean, look at Hamilton. Like, surprised to me that they're actually 0-2 right now as well. And they went out, you know, Ted Govea went out and got a lot of guys, and Bomber guys, and maybe it's another one of those things where it needs time to gel. I think Kenny Lawler's looked great, you know, but you're 0-2. So the problem last year Hamilton wasn't their offense; it was their defense, and so far that's struggled.
In that horrible East, I'm not giving up on Hamilton yet. I can't give up on anyone, really.
Yeah, I mean, they're all 0-2. Montreal's going to have that division wrapped up by week 7 or what? 8?
Labor Day. It's going to be done by Labor Day again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Winnipeg at BC. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Bombers. You know, besides being on the road, which is a little bit tougher for the Bombers, they looked pretty dominant in week 1, so I think they can handle being on the road and beat BC again.
I'll go Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I like what I saw last week. I know it's really hard to beat the same team twice, but I don't know if BC has the answers this early.
Yeah, they're probably hoping they do. Buck, I don't think wants to lose 2 games to the Bombers.
Bold prediction for week 3 of this CFL fans. Put your predictions in the comments section below. Also, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't.
Do it.
Bold prediction for week 3 of the CFL season. I think the Edmonton Elks will fall short of hitting double digits in points this game.
Ooh.
This Montreal defense is what? Averaging 14, 13 points against? And Edmonton has not found their identity yet on offense. So I don't think they're going to hit double digits in points.
Yeah, Montreal's first in net defense and tied for second in points per game.
Oh, well.
And lead the league in takeaways through the 2 weeks. So
not looking good, Edmonton.
No, if Trey Ford struggled there in week 1, this is going to be against a much tougher defense. And he struggled against BC's defense, who Streveler just lit up, right? So, and the Bombers' offense lit up. So,
oof.
I don't know if it's bold. I guess, I don't know. I'm going to go Trey Vavel. He's going to take either a punt or a kick return back for a touchdown this week.
Oh.
He was very
blessed.
Very
blessed.
Very impressed by him so far, and I'm excited, and I'm hoping this means the Bombers are going to have a return game and it wasn't just a 1-game aberration. I know Peyton Logan's still out there, but if Vaval can get the job done, I'm excited to see him this season.
Last time you called a return on a prediction, it happened.
Janarian Grant took it.
It was a while ago, but it was Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
that was great. Yeah. Thoughts on Luke Wilson's presence on TSN and online? You can go first.
You know what? I didn't realize he was on the like the sidelines. I didn't get to see a lot of the games this weekend. Yeah. But I was looking at clips. And I'm like, whoa, okay, this is not. I'm not fantastic, but I'm like, this is different. For me, I think it's good for the league. I mean, the guy's got over 144,000 followers as well on Twitter. Yeah. But the only thing about him is he's not afraid to tell fans, "Hey, you're an idiot," or what does he call him, numpies or something?
Oh, that's a word.
Yeah, something it was like that. So there's a lot of interactions with CFL fans on his Twitter account that are good, and a lot that are bad. You know, so I don't know how that's gonna taper off, but I can't see him being bad for the league right now. Besides him being an ex-Seahawk and me being a Niner fan, but
yeah.
And a lot of Americans have to be on his Twitter feed, right, as well. So hopefully that draws some of them in as well to come, hey, let's go check out this CFL guy that this NFL guy is talking about.
Absolutely. I think so far so good. He's kind of like the Biz Nasty of the CFL, maybe. I like how he's getting on the fans' case and how he's supporting some other ones. He has his list of good fans and bad fans. Great. He was great last year when he responded to a tweet that I had about the Grey Cup and the Great Canadian Drunk, and it just blew up because he responded to it. So he's responding to a lot of people online, and it really helps get CFL fans engaged. But I really would like to hear more of his honest perspective of how to grow the game. He says a lot of these old stock, old Vanguard fans are holding the game back, but I need to hear more ideas of what you think will move the game forward. Being an ex-NFLer in a very successful franchise, in a very successful market, what are some ideas that you have to make the CFL better and grow the game?
Yeah, good point. Hey, Luke Wilson can come on here anytime and discuss all those points at any time he wants.
That's a good invite right there. That's a good invite right there. CFL fans, put your comments below on what you think about Luke Wilson. I think he's great. Hustler, what do you think? That's crazy.
Was that a serious jab, or I didn't know if he was joking on some of that list or not?
I don't get it. I don't know. It's rough. See, it got us talking. It got us talking.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some Stanley Cup talk. Stanley Cup Finals. Florida Panthers, back-to-back champions. Do you consider Florida a dynasty? And also, what does this mean for the legacy of Connor McDavid? You want to start this with the Panthers?
Yeah, congrats to Pomo, man. Holy, 2 years in a row, 3 years in the finals, 2 wins in a row now. To me, and I know a lot of people say, "Hey, salary cap, it's harder to win in this day and age," and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it is. But Florida does have a little bit of benefits with the tax benefits, and sometimes, hey, getting two guys at the trade deadline, Seth Jones, while one of your guys is on the LITR, also helps. But Florida, solid team, and you need to know how to build that team and have guys that are on the fourth line as well that can contribute and all that stuff. I won't say they're a dynasty just yet. I always think a dynasty needs to be at least 3 wins. It doesn't need to be three in a row. You can win 3 out of 4 or something like that, but I still think they need to get that third one.
Yeah, this team is pretty amazing. Pomo, Compton, Huddy, Kulikov, and now Nate Schmidt.
Yeah.
Getting that Stanley Cup. Edmonton had home ice advantage. They had the advantage of being the team that lost last year, where in most people's minds, it means that you had a bit more of an edge. You, I don't know, had more of a want to win, but it wasn't there. Florida, no, they're not a dynasty. Even in 5 or 6 years, I think it'll be a dynasty. So they're still working on that, especially, if they don't remain, if they don't slip off in the next few years, just like the Bombers, I think they can be a dynasty if they win a Grey Cup right now.
Yeah.
Finish that dynasty at home. 3-6, dynasty. In regards to the legacy of McDavid, I don't think it ruins his legacy as a player. I heard an interesting stat. 9 years in a row, he's had 90 plus points. He's the only player to do that and not win a Stanley Cup. With that crazy. Said, what kind of coach have they put around this dude? Like Tippett, was he the best defensive coach they had on this team? Like, they can play offense. They need to find a good coach to figure out how to win, and they can't run it back with Skinner. That makes no sense if you're trying to win a chance. So I don't think this really taints McDavid's legacy. I think this taints the Oilers' legacy as an organization, where you haven't taken advantage of having the best player of this generation and surrounding him by the proper talent and system and coaching to win a championship.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, there's still time for obviously his legacy. The only thing is where was he in the Stanley Cup Finals? Where was he in, game 5 and 6? And I know it doesn't all fall on his shoulders, but he is the face of that franchise and the best player in the world. Stuart Skinner, yeah, he's gone. There's no way you bring him back and try to run it back with him again. You have to find a different option there, and that should be their priority. To look at him, or sorry, to look at replacing him, to have another shot and another run at this cup. But yeah, I think his legacy is still out there. Obviously, he's the best player in the world right now. But at some point to cement that, I don't know if you, not to cement the best player of all time. I guess championships help. Dan Marino never got one, obviously, but he's still talked about as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So McDavid will be that guy, but it will always be, but he didn't get his ring. He didn't drag a team to victory, and all that stuff. So right now he's got to find a way. And I know he needs help. He can't be just one guy in the NHL. Look, Florida had different guys scoring. You had Bennett scoring. You had Reinhardt scoring. You had Chuck scoring. Marchand was having a freaking wicked final. And just so I did say the Bombers, the Jets should have traded for Marchand, before the playoffs. They should have made a bigger pitch to try and get that guy. He would have made a world of difference for that team. But there was different guys stepping up every game.
Yeah.
And Bobrovsky, yes, he had some good games, but there were some games he was letting in goals, and letting in a lot of goals, but Florida was coming back and helping him out. And then they played better D in front of the guy.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of games. So to me, the Oilers in the 2 games they won, they were both losing those goals, and they came back and won those. So again, they had to come back to win those games. They were never really in a game where they were leading and had Florida worried at all in this series. So
no, they were outscored 13-4, weren't they, in the first period?
Yeah.
They let Florida score 28 goals in 6 games.
Yeah.
They are not good enough.
No, not at all. They got some work to do.
Oh my goodness. They need a different goalie.
Yeah, I meant to look this up. Have the Oilers actually won a cup when they didn't beat the Jets in the playoffs at some point? Where all their 80s and 90s wins start with a win over the Jets?
I don't
Or at
know,
least
but
second round?
I don't know, but they had Grant Fuhr, Andy Mogan, Bill Ranford. I know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Fine,
Yeah, Gretzky always says they wouldn't have won without Grant Fuhr. So
it's mind-boggling that they ran it back with Stuart Skinner. You ran it back with Stuart Skinner?
Yeah.
Also,
in hindsight.
Also, imagine if Connor Hellebuyck could have continued his regular season pace into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's another story.
I know, and we'll be talking more about that in the Jets offseason coming up next week. Benny, do you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe and follow, and have a good week.
And in the words of Ed Whalen, in the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports.
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.